Hello and welcome to Galaxy Prime Time News. My name is Nenwang Imazaka. I will begin with the headlines. President Bola Tinubu strongly condemns the bomb attacks in Goza local government area of Borno State. 37 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory fails to access the 36.18 billion naira education fund provided by the Universal Basic Education Commission in 2023. On the foreign scene, Pakistan is to start the second phase of a controversial plan to send undocumented Afghan refugees back to their country, beginning Sunday today. This is what will come to you shortly. To stay with us. And now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu strongly condemns the bomb attacks which resulted in the loss of precious lives and the maiming of other citizens in Goza local government area of Borno State. President Tinubu described the attacks as desperate acts of terror and a clear manifestation of the pressure mounted against terrorists and the success achieved in degrading their capacity to launch offensives. Chief Ajuri Gilale, special advisor to the president, media publicity in a statement, said the president declares that the previous of wanton violence shall be a certain encounter with justice and that these cowardly acts are only but an isolated episode, as his government will not allow the nation to slither into an era of fear, tears, sorrow and blood. Gilale said the president stated that his administration is taking necessary measures to secure citizens, emphasizing that efforts will be redoubled to ensure that those who trouble the nation, dispatching precious lives and disrupting law and order are completely removed. He said President Tinubu condoles with the victims of the attacks, the families of the deceased, as well as the government and people of Borno State. 27 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory have failed to access the 36.1 billion naira education fund provided by the Universal Basic Education Commission in 2023. This is according to a document prepared by UBEC in March, which showed how state-by-state matching grants were accessed. The document, which was signed by UBEC's Director of Finance and Account, Adamu Misol, said the sum of 36.1 billion naira was not accessed by state. According to the data on the document, Jigawa, Sokoto and Zamfara State in the northwest, Borno and Taraba State in the northeast, Nasarawa State in the north-central, Ondo State in the southwest, Enugu State in the southeast and Delta State in the south-south have fully accessed their funds. However, the document stated that Kaduna State failed to access the sum of 1.3 billion naira in 2023. Kano State failed to access the sum of 581 million naira in the same year, with Katsina and Kebbi State also failing to access the sum of 1.3 billion naira each in 2023. Adamawa and Bauchi State, according to the data, jointly failed to access the funds provided for 2023. Kaduna State Government, being part of the global community in collaboration with the body charged for agroclimatic resilience and semi-arid landscapes, have embarked on a roadwalk, public sensitization and awareness on the need to maintain environmental cleanliness for a safe hygiene actualization. The walk started at the State Secretariat and ended at the Kaduna Central Market, aiming to raise awareness among Kaduna State residents about the significance of environmental cleanliness, particularly as the rainy season approaches, so as to avoid flooding.
I'm sure that the Ministry of Environment will not just do this for today, but what we have always hoped for is that we'll have a very clean and green environment within Kaduna. So this is the start of something. You know, the end of an era is the beginning of a new era. So this is the beginning for something that Kaduna State hopes to maintain, so that we don't have this unsanitary environment.
The state house to ensure that we create awareness to the public that today is World Sanitation. The most important thing is not just marking the day, but the sustainability thereafter. As a state, just like the question you trustworthy. We have a different model that we're actually working on now, which has to do with the house pickup of the refuse. Very soon we are going to ban the dump sites at the local community.
Waterways, and if they are not evacuated, when there is rain, the direction of the runoff is changed. The runoff that is supposed to pass through the drainages are no longer in the drainages, and they spill over the entire land. And we talk of flooding of people's homes.
There is a cottage industry, small industry, which been improvised by the ministry to make sure that these recycled waste are being tackled. I'm sure it's going to be we are going to start. The industry will soon be start operation in terms of that recycling of the waste.
As part of efforts to unite traditional institutions and cement a good working relationship between traditional rulers and the people of Niger Delta region, former Bayelsa State Governor and Senator representing Bayelsa West in the Senate, Senator Seriki Dixon, has said that the reduction in pipeline vandalism, all theft and all forms of criminality in the Niger Delta is as a result of the federal government contracted security firm Tantita. He made the disclosure when he led prominent Niger Delta traditional rulers to Oporosa, headquarters of Garamatu Kingdom in Warri Southwest local government area of Delta State. Our correspondent Dele Fasan completes the story.
The visit to the oil-rich Oporosa in Garamatu Kingdom is part of the Sustainable Peace Initiative of traditional rulers led by the Garamatu monarch and Tantita's chairman Tom Polo. Fielding questions from newsmen after meeting the Garamatu monarch, Senator Dixon harps on the reduction in oil theft.
I want to use this opportunity to appreciate my younger brother, GOC as we call him, Tom Polo and Tantita, for the contributions they are making in the area of stopping vandalism of strategic national assets within this territory. I want to thank him and Tantita for reducing illegal bunkering, as it is called, and for also trying their best, and they are doing so much, we know what they are doing, for reducing the environmental dangers occasioned by the illegal, refineries and those who are operating it, and the way they tamper with pipelines and causing spillage and pollution on our farmlands and our waterways and so on.
Speaking on the daily loss of oil in Nigeria, he debunked the allegations that youths in the region engage in oil theft.
The Ijaw people who are living in the creeks, living our day-to-day lives, eking out a livelihood when our waterways have been polluted and our farmlands polluted, and so they have no means, they have no capacity to engage in the high-level operations that result in the daily loss of crude, of Nigerian crude, produced from our place. We have no means to do that. The tankers, those who have the capacity to compromise and infiltrate the national security system, those who have the capacity to infiltrate the national petroleum system, those who have capacity to hire the tankers and the shuttle vessels and all of that. They are not the job people. We don't have the capacity to do that. We don't even have the experience in involving in that kind of operation.
The traditional rulers also promised to support the efforts of the federal government contracting firm in fighting oil theft in their different domain. From Oporosa, Delta State, Dele Fasan reporting for Galaxy News.
You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News, and coming up next. The Nigerian Air Force now have destroyed several illegal oil refining sites and eliminate terrorists in the Niger Delta region. Details of these and more will come to you shortly. Do stay with us. We're glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp if you have breaking news around you. Simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate a live update and comment. The Nigerian Air Force now says it has destroyed several illegal oil refining sites in rivers and eliminated scores of terrorists in Niger in a recent coordinated airstrikes. This is contained in a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, AVM Edward Gapquet, on Sunday in Abuja. Gapquet said that as the activities of the oil thieves and economic saboteurs had become sophisticated, so also the NAF and other security agencies re-strategized to checkmate the activities and be ahead of their game. He said that the oil thieves had in most cases continued to find new ways of concealing their overhead tanks used in storing stolen crude oil product from busted pipelines in the Niger Delta region. According to him, they also continue to infuse the use of fast-speed boats to convey their stolen goods. Gapquet further explained that NAF and other security agencies have also upped their games with modern technology and hardware that enables them to detect and deter the activities of oil thieves and economic saboteurs. Explaining further, Gapquet said that similar successes were recorded in the Northwest region. Two suspected burglars syndicate believed to be behind major warehouses, churches and homes burgling in Warri South local government area of Delta State have been arrested. Two of the suspects, which include a buyer of the stolen items, were paraded alongside the items. Correspondent Dele Fason completes the story.
Displaying the items, which include 100 bags of rice, air conditioners stolen from the Redeemed Christian Church of God, among others, at the Ekman police station in Warri, the Delta police spokesperson narrated their mode of operations.
We are in Ekman police station, which is a local government area of Delta State, where we'll be parading some suspects who were involved in burglary and stealing. What they do is that when they get to either warehouses, church premises, or places for reception, they tie up the security personnel around there. They are always armed with guns. They go with 3 vehicles, 2 Sienna vehicles, and a minibus. They open the booth and pack up everything they have there. If you look at that place, you will discover that we have a lot of air conditioners.
The lawmaker representing Warri South constituency, whose wife's shop was also burgled, narrated the ordeal as well as the suspects.
Actually, what happened was that on the 29th of May, I got a distress call from my wife that our warehouse was burgled. And the warehouse is in Efrun Sapler Road, close to the Redeemed Christian Church headquarters. So immediately I left Asaba and I came down. And on getting to the scene, we saw that the 3 security we had, they were all tied, and they burst hole into the building, break the wall, then break the doors and cut away 117 bags of rice and 20 cartons of groundnut oil, this King's groundnut oil with 6 in a pack, and the inverter and the batteries.
This thing should say it is genuine. You say it is genuine. And I don't mind not to buy from because in a customer where they buy from me.
We stay in scrapyard. They come in there. But call me, I have store in scrapyard.
What do they say?
I buy a scrap.
I also want to employ residents in Ekpan and Warri to partner with the police. They should arm themselves with the police control room phone numbers. They should also get closer to their DPO so that in cases like this, it can be prevented. they can call the police and the patrol team will get there on time. Prevention, they say, is always better.
The recovery of the stolen items and arrest of stolen good buyers is no doubt a major victory for the Delta Police Command in ensuring criminal activities are brought to the barest minimum level within Warri and environs. From Warri in Delta State, Daily Fast reporting for Galaxy News.
Fight against drug abuse and trafficking in Nigeria seem not to be achieving much, considering the unheeded availability of all forms of hard drugs all over the country, anywhere, especially in Lagos, the nation's center of excellence. Both young and old use drug openly, which makes one wonder if the ongoing war against such acts is effective in any way. Galaxy News correspondent Levy Joseph takes a look at this scenario in this report. Despite establishment of several organizations like National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC), Institute of Chartered Chemists of Nigeria (ICON), Institute of Public Analysts of Nigeria (IPAN), and National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA), illicit drugs still flow freely on the street of every communities in Nigeria. The question is the tactics or the approach not right? Or these agencies are not doing the right thing to curtail the supply, sales and usage of these illicit drugs in the country?
Well, it goes beyond just security agencies. We even need economic solutions to these things. We need political solutions to these things. You would agree with me that if unemployment reduces, then the rate of drug abuse would reduce. Many of these people abusing drugs are jobless. They have nothing to do. So there are many angles at which to look at it. Even the correctional service too. If they deliver on that mandate of correcting inmates, it would also help. It's sad that some people go to prison and actually get worse in prison.
Most of where they sell these drugs in Lagos, the security agents are aware of it. And I will also say this, that most of the security agents are also taking drugs. They bust this place, they collect money from the people, they go back, they know the place. If they want to shut down drug activities in Nigeria, they want to shut it in Lagos, for example, they know the places where they sell these drugs. They can shut them down. But the security agencies, some of them, they go there, they take drugs, they liaise with them, they collect money from them, and they move ahead.
The morale of the staff, the equipment used, are they adequate when you consider vis-a-vis the population of the abusers? Then the root of it. If not now that we have found like a Brigadier Abuba Marua, you see a revamp of the efforts. But you know that many of the NDLEA officers are killed. They are killed. It's a very dirty and dangerous job that I think people should be better trained, better protected, and better remunerated.
Looking at the trend at which Nigerians, both young and old, men and women, take drugs, it is pertinent to change the direction for the fight against drug abuse. Many pundits, unarguably, said routing the base of drug baron and blocking the supply chain can bring about better results.
In this day and age, drug abuse has been commonplace, so much so that almost everywhere, every corner you find yourself, you are likely to experience, open use of drug. And of course, it's been on the high.
Well, it goes beyond just security agencies. We even need economic solutions to these things. We need political solutions to these things. You would agree with me that if unemployment reduces, then the rate of drug abuse would reduce. Many of these people abusing drugs are jobless. They have nothing to do. So there are many angles at which to look at it. Even the correctional service too. If they deliver on that mandate of correcting inmates, it would also help. It's sad that some people go to prison and actually get worse in prison.
As it is now in the country, the fight against drug abuse and use of illicit drugs should not be left for government agencies alone. Public advocacy, parental guidance, and religious bodies' involvement is critically needed to complement effort of government at ridding the society of drug abuse.
Government needs to do more enlightenment. Government needs to do more orientation, and parents needs to do so much more. Schools and organizations also need to collaborate with government agencies in this regard.
If we must face our challenges, we must be real about our challenges, we must ask ourselves, we want to provide solutions to these challenges, and our life is in our hands. I will tell the youth, your tomorrow is in your hands. You must take responsibility. You don't blame your father, you don't blame your mother, you don't blame the government. And for you to be able to take responsibility, your head must be cleared at all particular time, so I can be able to take the right decision always to better your future.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the NDLEA on Sunday said it raided a drug party in Abuja and arrested 60 suspects. Its spokesman, Femi Babafemi, in a statement, said that the Friday party was dubbed Go Hard or Go Home, Pick Your Poison. He said that the raid followed credible intelligence about the drug party organized by one Stanley Ikechukwu, who was arrested at the venue. In another development, 4 suspects, Endurance Okun 24, Joseph Michael 23, Ovoko Bright 43, and Gode Abrandom 23, have been arrested in the forest at Ogun, a local government in Edo State. Babafemi said that no less than 40.32 kg of loud and imported strong strain of cannabis was on Friday, June 28, recovered in a vehicle along Lekki Koyi Road. This, he said, was when the driver jumped off the vehicle after noticing that NDLEA operatives were on his trail. He said that command and formations of the agency across the country had continued their war against drug abuse, sanitization activities to schools, worship centers, workplaces and communities in the past week. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the NDLEA on Sunday said it's intercepted 6,125 cartons of codeine syrup worth 7.3 billion naira in Rivers. This is contained in a statement signed by NDLEA Director Media and Advocacy Femi Babafemi on Sunday in Abuja. Babafemi said that the intercepted cartons contained over 1 million bottles of opioid worth over 7.3 billion naira street value at the Port Harcourt Port Complex on Near Rivers. According to him, the seizure made from 6 containers on Saturday is a third of such in the past 4 weeks. He said that the drugs were seized following credible intelligence and diligent tracking of the consignment from their port of departure by a special operations unit of NDLEA. Babafemi also said that the operatives worked in partnership with the Port Harcourt Port Command of the agency and other security agencies. These, he said, included the Nigeria Customs Service for a 100% joint examination of the targeted containers. Babafemi further said that NDLEA officers at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, arrested 2 passengers traveling to Doha on a Qatar Airways flight at the screening point of Terminal 2. It has been observed that adequate financial support plays an integral role towards the delivery of quality health care aimed at addressing HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria in Nigeria. At an ATM Network State Media meeting, civil society organizations in the health sector in Abeokuta, the state capital, have called for more resources deployed in the health sector. Correspondent John Felix reports.
Nigeria has the world's highest number of people affected by malaria and the world's second largest HIV/AIDS burden. While Nigeria is also ranked as one of the 30 high tuberculosis and TB/HIV co-infection burden countries in the world, there's an urgent need to stem the tide. Speaking to Galaxy TV News, spokesperson for the ATM network say lack of financial resources can undermine the effectiveness of treatment, with a plea for more financial support from government and other stakeholders.
Government should increase funding for the PHCs. We urge government officials and policy makers to prioritize increased funding for the secondary and primary healthcare centers. Adequate financial support is crucial for this center to deliver on quality health services, including prevention and treatment of infectious diseases, that is HIV, malaria, and tuberculosis. By allocating more resources to this healthcare, government can strengthen infrastructure, enhance workforce capacity, and ensure essential services are accessible. We would also be making an outcry to private and philanthropist organizations to also continue to support primary healthcare services in our community.
While commending the Ogun State government for the commitment and dedication towards the full implementation of basic health care under one roof, speaker after speaker called for the training of more health workers, community support for PHCs, among others.
With that implementation, we still need more, because we still need more staff. In terms of drug, that has improved a bit, but we still need more. Then there are some PHCs that need more instruments to perform their activities. So the major thing is in terms of staff. They need to employ more staff so that all the PHCs will be covered. But for every policy, everything needed for the PHC implementation, it has been done.
So that the full implementation has already taken place. So we have that in place, but we are trying to work on ensuring accountability among our staffs, the health worker, the different local government health authority now.
There's no better time than now to invest in the healthcare sector at the community level. From Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television News.
And I'll move over to Tracking the Week. Hello and welcome to Tracking the Week. On Monday, the Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun was elected as a new chairman of the Southern Governors Forum. The Southern Governors Forum serves as a collective body for the 17 governors from the Southwest, South-South and Southeast geopolitical zones of Nigeria. While the governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, emerged as vice chairman, Abiodun emerged as the SGF chairman after the death of Rotimi Akeredolu. 16 governors were in attendance, except the governor of Rivers State, Timnalai Fubara. The governors had a closed-door meeting which lasted for about 5 hours at the Presidential Lodge, Abeokuta, in the Ogun State capital. Abiodun, while briefing newsmen after the meeting, said he was humbled to have been nominated to lead the Southern Governors Forum, alongside with Professor Charles Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, as the vice chairman of the forum. And still on Monday, Justice Nnamdi Ndigba of the Federal High Court, Abuja, struck out a 24-count amended charge bordering an alleged 1.219 billion naira money laundering filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against Biodun Agbele and 3 others. Agbele, who stood trial in the criminal charges for almost 8 years, was one of the closest political allies of former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose. Delivering ruling in a no-case submission argued by Chief Mike Ozokume, SAN, for the accused person, Justice Dingba held that Agbele has no case to answer in the charges following the failure of the EFCC to establish the ingredients of the alleged offences as required by law. The EFCC had accused Agbele and 3 others of indirectly accepting 1.219 billion naira in cash through an official of Zenith Bank in Akure, Ondo State, from the then Minister of State for Defense, Senator Musliu Obanikuru, on behalf of Ayodele Fayose. In June 2014, Agbele was alleged to have carried out the act without going through a financial institution, contrary to the provisions of Section 1, subsection A of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act. On Tuesday, during a hearing organized by the House Committee on Public Account Committee, a senior custom officer, Esianetob Andrew, who was a Deputy Controller of Finance, Administration and Technical Service, passed away after developing sudden health complications. Despite the immediate efforts of his first responders and medical personnel at the National Assembly Clinic, he unfortunately did not survive. Still on Tuesday, stakeholders and members of the House of Representatives Committee on Corporate Social Responsibility have deferred on a bill for an act to regulate corporate social responsibility in Nigeria and other related matters. The divergent views came up during a public hearing on the bill on Tuesday in Abuja. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Lillian Orubu, expressed displeasure over the absence of telecom giants such as MTN and Airtel, despite the enabling environment given them by government to operate. Stakeholders such as the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Communication Commission, who were at the hearing, supported the bill, saying that the proposed amendment will ensure all parties are protected. Earlier, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who was represented by the House Majority Leader, Honorable Julius Ihunvere, spelled out the essence of the proposed amendment to the bill, while calling on all stakeholders to make useful contributions to the bill. On Wednesday, former Governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, filed a case against the Kaduna House of Assembly, seeking to enforce his fundamental human right. The suit alleges that he was denied a fair hearing during the investigation by the House of Assembly into alleged misuse of public funds. El-Rufai, alongside former commissioners who served under his administration, filed the suit at the Federal High Court in Kaduna. The Kaduna House of Assembly had inaugurated a 13-man ad hoc committee to examine the loans, grants and project implementations during El-Rufai's tenure as Governor of Kaduna State. The committee report adopted by the House indicted El-Rufai and some key members of his cabinet for alleged corruption in the awards of contract and management of both domestic and foreign loans obtained by his government. Still on Wednesday, there was a fire outbreak at the Dangote Petroleum Refinery in Lekki Free Zone near Lagos, Nigeria's commercial nerve center. Workers were seen outside the section of the Dangote Refinery not affected by the fire incident. A correspondent who could not immediately ascertain the cause of the inferno, which was raging, reacting to the incident, the Chief Corporate Communication Officer of Dangote Group, Anthony Chejina, disclosed in a statement that the fire had been contained and there is no cause for alarm. He described ETA as a type of wastewater treatment method which is specifically designed to purify industrial wastewaters for its reuse, to release safe water to the environment from the harmful effect caused by the effluent. He said the fire had been contained, adding that this was a minor incident and it would not in any way affect the operations at the refinery. On Thursday, the National Assembly granted an extension to the implementation of the capital aspect of the Appropriation Act 2023 from 30th June 2024 to 31st December 2024, following a request by President Bola Tinubu. The Senate implementation of the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Bill till 31st December 2024. President Tinubu seeks the extension of two budgets until 31st December to allow for a full implementation of the law. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that the passage followed the emergency plenary convened, which was preceded by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, on Thursday. The leader of the Senate, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, and sponsor of the executive bill, led the debate on the general principles of the bill. Supporting the passage of the bill, lawmakers speedily okayed the request as bills went through the three stages of bill passage on the same day. In his remark, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, thanked senators for their understanding and patriotism and expressed his belief that implementation would allow the executive to complete all abandoned projects. And still on Thursday, the Nigerian Senate has denied approving the purchase of a new presidential jet for President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima speculated. There were reports that President Tinubu was seeking the National Assembly approval of funds for the purchase of a new presidential jet. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, during Thursday's emergency plenary session, declared that there is the presence of a fifth columnist doing everything possible to destabilize the parliament. Akpabio said this in corroboration of the observation raised by the leader of the Senate, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, that the Senate purports to give backing towards the procurement of a new presidential aircraft. The senators had called short emergency session to consider a bill for an act to amend the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act to further extend its implementation to December 31st, 2024, as requested by Tinubu. And on Friday, the Supreme Court acquitted a sergeant in the Nigerian Army, Akawu Bala, from the death sentence previously handed down by the General Court Martial. Sergeant Bala had been on death row for 12 years in the Kaduna prison, awaiting confirmation of his sentence. His appeal to the Supreme Court was heard on March 16, 2017, where a 5-justice panel unanimously ruled in his favor. Bala was accused of fatally shooting Isa Mohammed on December 9, 2012, while stationed at an African petroleum station in Sabun Tasha, Kaduna. Mohammed succumbed to his injuries the following day at St. Gerard's Catholic Hospital. Charged with murder under Section 106 of the Armed Forces Act 2014, Bala was tried by the General Court-Martial and sentenced to death by hanging. His initial appeal was dismissed by the Kaduna Division of the Court of Appeal on February 17, 2017, which found procedural errors in the trial but did not discharge Bala, prompting an appeal to the Supreme Court. Representing Bala, Senior Advocate of Nigeria Reuben Okpanachi Atabo argued that the flawed trial should result in Bala's discharge, citing Section 193 of the Armed Forces Act 2014, which prohibits retrials after a voided trial. And still on Friday, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) said the tenure of office of all elected chairmen and councillors in the 6th Area Council of the FCT will come to an end in June 2026, warning those interested in contesting the election to be guided by the provisions of the law. Speaking at a consultative meeting with members of the Inter-Party Advisory Council in Abuja, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said, by the provisions of the law, the tenure of office of every elected official begins the day such a person takes the oath of office. He explained that the Electoral Act 2022 guarantees a 4-year tenure for the chairman and councillors and not the 3 years provided in the Electoral Act 2010. The chairman noted that the Commission had earlier received inquiries from some law firms, individuals, political parties and FCT chairmanship aspirant forum regarding the tenure of the Area Council, demanding the Commission to release the timetable and schedule of activities for the Area Council elections. And that's all we have on Tracking the Week. And now we'll move over to the foreign desk for more news. Hello and welcome to the foreign news. Pakistan is set to start the second phase of a controversial plan to send undocumented Afghan refugees back to their country. Beginning Sunday, authorities are likely to expel more than 800,000 Afghans from the country after about 541,000 were forced to leave in the first phase in November last year. If they do not leave voluntarily, the refugees face arrest and deportation. Before the first phase of repatriation, the Pakistani government claimed there were nearly 4.4 million Afghan refugees, out of which an estimated 1.73 million were undocumented. The government has defended the crackdown, citing security concerns and a struggling economy. The deportation order came amid a dramatic increase in armed attacks across Pakistan, with the government attributing the attacks to groups and nationals based in Afghanistan, an allegation the Taliban government in Afghanistan rejected. Philippa Candler, the representative of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees in Islamabad, told newsmen that Pakistan should look at the profiles of the undocumented Afghans before expelling them, as many of them were in need of international protection. Pakistan is not a signatory to the 1951 UN Convention that protects the rights of the refugees. The country also lacks domestic laws to protect the refugees, as well as procedures to determine the status of individuals seeking international protection within its borders. Paramilitary forces battling Sudan's army for more than a year said they have captured the key state capital in the war-torn country's southeast. Morgan said the Sudanese army did not dispute the RSF statement that it has taken control of the 17th Infantry Division. Sudan has been gripped by war since April 2023, when fighting erupted between forces loyal to Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the RSF led by his former deputy Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo. The conflict in a country of 48 million has killed tens of thousands, displaced millions, and triggered one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The latest RSF breakthrough means they are closing in Port Sudan on the Red Sea, where the army government and the United Nations agencies are now based. The RSF controls most of the capital Khartoum, Gezira state in the center of the country, the vast western region of Darfur and much of Kordofan to the south. Sennar state is already home to more than 1 million displaced Sudanese. It connects central Sudan to the army-controlled southeast. United States President Joe Biden is trying to reassure donors after his performance during the first presidential debate. The presumptive Republican nominee, Donald Trump, rattled Democrats and caused serious doubt about his re-election prospects. The president has been attending fundraisers in an effort to acknowledge concerns, but also promised that he is not abandoning his campaign to command the White House for the next 4 years. Biden and his wife Jill earlier attended a campaign event in the affluent neighborhood East Hampton in New York to get more funding. Based on public records, the event, which was close to the news media, took place at the home of Avron Glazer, an owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team. The couple then went to a second event in East Hampton at the home of investor Barry Rosenstein, whose wife Lizanne heaped praise on the president and defended his 4-year record compared to that of Trump. Biden focused on directing attention towards Trump, heavily criticizing his presidential record and saying his performance was also poor during the debate on Thursday night. And still in foreign news, Austria far-right Freedom Party, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban Fidesz, and populist ZEG and ANO party, led by Andrej Babis, are forming a new alliance in the European Parliament. The new alliance has been dubbed the Patriots for Europe and will require backing from parties from at least 4 other countries to be recognized as an official group in the European Parliament, where far-right groups have made gains. Parties from at least a quarter of the European Union's 27 member states are needed to officially form a new political group. The 3 men signed a patriotic manifesto promising peace, security and development instead of war, migration and stagnation brought by the Brussels elite, according to Orban. Kiki's FPO is part of the Identity and Democracy grouping, which also includes France National Rally and Italy's League. The century's ANO movement of billionaire former Prime Minister Eurosceptic Dabis announced last week it was leaving Renew Europe. The 3 parties were the strongest performing in their respective countries during the EU elections earlier this month, while Fidesz has remained outside larger groupings since it parted ways with the mainstream center-right European People's Party in 2021. Caribbean nations are warning residents to make emergency preparations with a powerful and potentially deadly hurricane threatening further as it moves towards them. Beryl, the first named hurricane of the season, is due to make landfall over a number of islands late on Sunday. The hurricane has been upgraded by forecasters to a very dangerous Category 3 storm, meaning it is predicted to have winds of 111 to 130 mph. The major storm is expected to strengthen further as nears the Caribbean islands of Barbados, Dominica, Grenada and Martinique, among others. Across the region, people are boarding up their homes, queuing for fuel at filling stations and stockpiling supplies and water in preparation for the storm. In an address to the nation on Saturday night, the Prime Minister of Barbados urged residents to look out for their friends, family and neighbors when hurricane lands. Forecasters say that Hurricane Beryl, which formed Friday night from a tropical storm, already has winds of 115 mph and is expected to strengthen further before it reaches the Wesley Caribbean islands. They predict that by the time the storm hits the Windward Island, made up of Dominica, Grenadines and Grenada, there will be hurricane-force winds, a life-threatening storm surge and heavy rainfall. And lastly, on the foreign news, a man in his 30s has been killed and several others wounded in a shooting at a Turkish wedding in northeast France, police said. French media reports that 3 armed, hooded men arrived at the reception venue in Thionville late on Saturday night before opening fire on guests. Quoting police sources, Lee Vagre says the attackers came at 1:15 a.m. local time to settle scores between well-known gangs on Mosul. A pregnant woman was among the wounded, police said, and 3 of the injured are reportedly in a critical condition at the Bel Air hospital nearby. Around 100 people were celebrating at Eden Palace when the gunmen arrived at the event in a 4x4 car, according to French media in the region of Lorraine, near the borders of Germany and Luxembourg. At 1:15 in the morning, a group of people went outside to smoke in front of the hall, and then 3 heavily armed men opened fire in their direction. A police source was quoted. The men reportedly used automatic weapons and shotguns. In a statement, prosecutor Nancy Francios said the men had fired several dozen times, adding 4 people had been hit by the bullet. And that's all we have on the foreign news. Now for more update and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. And that's all we have on Galaxy Primetime News. Thank you so much for being a part of the news. My name is Nenwag Imazaka. Goodbye.